folks. What's up? This is Michael in the wee hours of the dead of night on the graveyard shift yet once again. Oh my god, I don't know how many nights in a row I'm going, but this is awesome. This is awesome, and it's almost Friday, so I'm thankful that it's Thursday, though, that's for sure. So the answer to the previous trivia question was missing children on milk cartons. I don't know if you all are old enough or how many people out there are old enough to remember this, but I surely do. So during the late 1970s and early 80s in the United States, missing child cases were getting a lot of media attention. This was the era, I don't know if you all remember, of Adam Walsh, the child who went missing and was subsequently murdered. His father's John Walsh, the guy who did America's Most Wanted for years, okay, and then Adam Walsh is the reason why we have Adam alerts in like shopping centers and so forth. Anyways, the concept of what became known as stranger danger developed, which was a slogan of sorts or a moral panic to keep children and their parents aware and being diligent, being safe at all times. I remember stranger danger when it kind of took over, if you will, back in this era, this time. When the disappearance of Ethan Patz, who was featured in the trivia question, occurred in 1979, his image would go on to appear for the first time on milk cartons. This had its beginnings with the nonprofit organization called the National Child and Safety Council, who began the nationwide program called the Missing Children Milk Carton Program. By 1985, up to 1,600 independent dairies in the United States had adopted the practice of publishing photos of missing children on milk cartons, so that consumers purchasing milk at retail markets would be encouraged to look for the missing children while they sat down for breakfast every day. So the practice had begun to fade by the late 1980s. This is kind of a significant factor of this whole program. If you remember the missing faces of kids on milk cartons, this kind of came and went. It would eventually become obsolete very quickly for a few significant reasons. So check these out. Cartons switched to jugs. Okay, so that was kind of a manufacturing reason, if you will. The campaign proved only marginally successful in actually helping to locate missing children. It was statistically proven that at the time, or later on when they looked at it, that a large percentage of the children appearing on the milk cartons had actually been taken by non-custodial divorced parents. There were legal issues. People were just kind of printing pictures willy-nilly. Nobody really was fact-checking, if you will. There were racial bias claims, and this happens when you take anything that involves demographics, especially if people like kids, and you publicize them. For instance, like on missing children photos on milk cartons in mass, like that. Psychologists looked at the program while it was going on, later on in life as well, and determined that it was emotionally distressing. It frightened children. One of the concepts or ideas behind the program is they wanted to get to adults, and what they were doing was really scaring children. Some psychologists I found in my research actually determined that having a child sit at the breakfast table and look at missing children on milk cartons did not fare well with them. As far as their emotional well-being was concerned. Nobody was tracking this data, which is a huge error when you launch a program like this. And there were questionable tax breaks that some of these dairy producing companies were receiving because they were involved in the so-called public service of helping find missing children by doing this. So their intent was questioned in that regard. And finally, as we all know, the Amber Alert system, which we all know today, with that very loud, annoying beep that comes over the TV and our phone, was subsequently developed. So we didn't need like kind of old school methods like printing photos on milk cartons. A couple of geek factoids about the children on milk carton program. It did one successful thing that it did do, and notable, worthy of mention, honorable mention. It established the notion that there could be a uniform system of raising awareness for missing children. It kind of set the foundation for that. in a way, in a lot of ways. The recovery rate for missing children, I thought this was a cool statistic. The recovery rate for missing children involved in dangerous situations was 97% in 2011, and that was up from 62% in 1990 when they phased this whole thing out. All right, folks, let's have a Thankful Thursday trivia question to try and wrap up this week for May 26th. Let's go back to the Supreme Court, shall we? My favorite group for trivia questions. Check this out. Good trivia questions. We got some good ones this week. On this day in 1987, due to an increase in crime by persons released pending trial, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that dangerous defendants could be held and detained without this process. Do some research. Have a good Thursday, folks. Peace out.